Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Radio Guy Online, coming to you live from our studio here in Kokom Lemle. My name is Evans Nanaje. Coming up, the National Inspectorate Board has called on private school proprietors to engage parents to reach a consensus on fees to be charged for virtual learning. And the vice presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, has called on the people of Ahwiaso in the Bibiani Ahwiaso Bekwai constituency in the Western North region to take into account policies implemented by the erstwhile John Mahama administration, which enhance the socio-economic development of their area as they make the decision to vote in the December 7 elections. And on the international front, Mali's ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita has been admitted to a hospital in the capital, Bamako. Now to the details. The National Inspectorate Board has called on private school proprietors to engage parents to reach a consensus on fees to be charged for virtual learning. The plight of private school teachers have worsened since the coronavirus pandemic forced schools to close down nearly 6 months ago. There are fears some private schools will collapse soon as a result of the lack of students in these private schools. The agitations come after the president, during the 16th update on COVID-19, noted that the Ghana Education Service, after further consultations, has decided to postpone the remainder of the academic year to January 2021 for all nursery, kindergarten, primary, JHS 1 and SHS 1 students. But the NIB, in a statement, has urged the private schools to optimize the distance learning programs being rolled out by the Education Ministry in collaboration with the Ministry of Communication as a stopgap measure to mitigate their plight amid the coronavirus disruptions. Now to some other story. The vice presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Agyeman, has called on the people of Ahwiaso in the Bibiani Ahwiaso Bekwai constituency of the Western North region to take into account policies implemented by the erstwhile John Mahama administration, which enhanced the socio-economic development of their area as they make the decision to vote in the December 7th elections. She said this while addressing teeming supporters of the NDC who came out to welcome her as she began a 4-day tour of the region. The NDC running mate noted that there must be peace for the country to achieve the development that Ghanaians are yearning for, and invited all to pursue that path as the country heads into the election season. She, however, urged them to resist any form of intimidation, as all Ghanaians have equal rights. She highlighted inclusivity as a foundation for the country's success, adding that equity in the allocation of resources for all Ghanaians would be the trademark of the next Mahama government. Professor Opoku Agyeman also urged the people to jealously guard their voters' identification cards in order to have the opportunity to vote massively for Mr. Mahama and the NDC's parliamentary candidate on election day. Still on some political story, thousands of people on Tuesday night welcomed the presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. John Dramani Mahama, to the Upper West Regional Capital, Wa. He was met by several thousands of motorbike riders amid joyous songs and dance and was taken through the principal street of Wa. Mr. Mahama arrived a day early to embark on a 4-day tour of the Upper West region from Wednesday to Saturday. He will meet with chiefs, opinion leaders, organized groups, and leaders of religious bodies. The NDC presidential candidate will also address people in various communities during his tour of the Upper West region. Mr. Mahama is expected to return to Accra on Sunday ahead of the launch of his party's manifesto for the 2020 elections. already. The NDC's vice presidential candidate, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman, is on a tour of the Western North region. She is also expected to wrap up her tour by the weekend and return to Accra in good time for the NDC's manifesto launch early next week. Now to some other story. The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection and the Parliamentary Select Committee on Gender, Children and Social Protection is set to present a report on the witches' menace in Ghana to the Speaker of Parliament. The report seeks to address the issue of witchcraft accusations that has resulted in the creation of witch camps in some parts of the country. Speaking to the media, the sector minister noted that works on the report are far advanced and will be presented to the Speaker for debate to help draft a policy to permanently address the issue of witchcraft accusations in the country. She further expressed commitment in ensuring a swift prosecution of persons involved in lynching women who are accused of witchcraft. And now to our international story. Mali's ousted president Ibrahim Boubacar Keita has been admitted to a hospital in the capital Bamako, according to Associated Press reports. It quoted two anonymous sources at a clinic where the former leader is reportedly being treated. The 75-year-old politician was detained for 10 days by the military junta before he announced his resignation and was later freed to stay at his home. During mediation talks, he was quoted as saying that he was not interested in the presidency. The opposition had been calling for his resignation for months, blaming him for economic decline, corruption, and a failure to contain a jihadist insurgency. Now to our sports news. The Court of Arbitration for Sport has dismissed Tema Youth owner Wilfred Osei Kweku Palmer's appeal against the Ghana Football Association. Palmer went to the Swiss court challenging his disqualification from contesting the GFA presidential elections in October 2019, which Kurt Okraku won. Palmer wanted the GFA elections annulled and his candidacy reinstated for fresh elections to be held. However, in a letter addressed to both parties and signed by the president of the panel, Michel Banasconi, CAS backed the decision of the GFA to disqualify Palmer from contesting the election. And that's how we end the news at 12. But before we go, a recap of our top stories. The National Inspectorate Board has called on private school proprietors to engage parents to reach a consensus on fees to be charged for virtual learning. And the vice presidential candidate of the National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman, has called on the people of Ahwiaso and the Bibiani Ahwiaso Bekwai constituency of the Western North region to take into account policies implemented by the erstwhile John Mahama administration, which enhance the socio-economic development of their area as they make the decision to vote in the December 7 elections. And Mali's ousted president Ibrahim Boubacar Keita has been admitted to a hospital in the capital Bamako. And that's how we end the news at 12. Please stay tuned.